Hello, everyone. Now, question. Have you heard of this new buzzword called astrocartography? Um, have you been wondering what kind of astrology this is, or how can you use it to plan your travel, sabbatical, or relocation dreams? Well, if so, tune in tonight for our chat, and these questions will be answered for you. Plus, you'll be able to witness me getting my astrocartography chart read here live on YouTube. So, before I put all my personal business in these YouTube streets, let me introduce myself. I am Yvonne McBride. This is Yvonne McBride Lit Life, and in this space, we encourage, we motivate, we celebrate women of the African diaspora who want to reach for the life of their dreams. If you identify with any of the above, please take this time to subscribe to my channel. I'll wait. Thank you very much. And I want to welcome some of the people already in the chat. Angela. Hello, Angela. Hello, Chanel. And we have some other people in the chat. Please say hello so that I can acknowledge you here. We're going to get started. So I want to introduce you to a very special guest, Asti LaChae. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Yvonne, so much for having me. My name is Asti LaChae. I am an astrologer and I specialize in astrocartography, specifically for Black and Brown women who want to travel and live, work, and play in abundance.
Okay, so I met Asti, what was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. I was considering a trip, my first trip to San Miguel, for a writers meetup, right? Some things happened, and then I was reconsidering my choice to go, right? So I reached out. I don't even know how I knew you was an astrologer. Maybe we had chatted before as part of the Exodus Summit. Yes, Stephanie Perry, I'm giving you your flowers. You're part of the Exodus Summit group. Stephanie Rashida co-founded. Met through them. I knew somehow that Asti was an astrologer, specifically an astrocartography astrologer. So reached out to see, all right, should I do this trip? Should I make this journey? Should I pay this money? It was the holiday season to go here. She gave me my reading. It was so thorough. And basically, it told me yes to go, that I would make connections that will be lifelong connections. That has turned out to be the truth, that my writing career would benefit from the trip. From that trip, I got my first freelance article published. So all of the things happened. She also told me some stuff about my Venus line. We're going to see if that still holds true today. But that's how I met her. That's why I wanted to introduce Aussie to you all, for those emerging expats who are thinking about, leaving the country but can't decide where you want to go, which region of this world you want to focus on, what cities you want to add to your scouting list. This is what you should get, in my opinion, to help you determine all of those things. So let's begin by the beginning. Asti, when did you get interested in astrology?
So I got interested in astrology maybe around middle school age. My mom actually got me interested. She's very much into mysticism and different esoteric things. So she used to read the horoscopes in the newspaper.
Mhm.
And I just became so fascinated with that. I always loved the stars and like outer space and science and everything. I actually went into biology to get like an actual degree in biology because I love science. But I started getting into astrology specifically in, middle school, adolescence. And I would read the newspaper and I would read everybody's horoscope, everybody in my family. And then I would unsolicitedly give them their horoscopes. And I continued to do that just throughout, my adolescence until once I got in college, I started making friends who also were into astrology, and we started studying deeper just on our own. And then maybe around 2015, I met someone who actually knew how to read natal charts. And she read mine and she was like, oh, well, you're a writer. You already know that. That's like the number one thing in my astrology chart. But did you know you're also supposed to be an astrologer? And I was like, I thought so. I wasn't sure though.
Why did you
And
think
once,
so? What gave you
because
that?
I just always been interested in horoscopes and learning about the stars. And I was very interested in astronomy, like the hard science of studying the planets. But I love the mythology and the psychology side of astrology. And as I said, I was doing it as a hobby for people who, for friends and family for, 10 years prior to that. So, yeah.
So this is my first video. We love the woo woo. We love it's called the woo woo. The circle of the woo woo sisterhood, where we talk about mysticism and we talk about universal law and we talk about all of these things. So if that's something that you're into and you're interested in and you've been pulled to, this is for that. If you are a astrology is the devil, a churchy person, this is not the podcast chat for you, because we're not going to entertain that. We know that we get divine downloads from everywhere, including the universe. So that's what we are here for. Chanel says, I know nothing about any of this. So thanks so much for sharing. Welcome. Angela says, I'm looking forward to this one. I've been dabbling, trying to teach myself astrocartography lately. Yes. And she says, when I travel, I dream plan future adventures. Khadijah. Hi, Khadijah. Thanks for joining us again. Once you come into the room, say hello in the chat, ladies. Okay. So how did you develop your skills? Let's say that.
So once I got the natal chart reading, my birth chart reading from another astrologer who explained to me, like, here is why your natal chart has these different elements that show you're supposed to be an astrologer, I started taking it seriously as a professional. And so I just started studying everything that I could find. I actually tried to find a university to like go get a degree in astrology, but I realized we don't have that in America. I would have had to have gone to Europe to do that.
They have that in other places? I've never.
They have an actual university where you can get a degree in astrology. But in America, it's still considered like a woo-woo pseudoscience. But once I started studying on my own, I found Stormy Grace. She is also a Black brown woman who has a PhD in business. And she took the business of astrology seriously. And she created an academy online that the public put together money for. And we created an academy to get all the astrologers who've been doing astrology since before I was born. And they came and gave their expertise. And so I started studying her actual astrology academy, and I paid for different certifications, and I just really went in depth. And so for about, the past 10 years now, I've been continuing to study more deeply into different aspects. And I settled on astrocartography once I saw how impactful it was for me when I started traveling.
Okay. So since you brought it up, how has it benefited your life?
So, I learned that I was born on my Saturn line, and I saw some of the people in the chat saying, they've been, getting into astrology. So they probably know Saturn is the planet that's, it's a bit of a challenge. Saturn is the planet that has the rings around it. And so rings kind of represent restriction or like constriction. So being born on the Saturn line was, it was putting a lot of attention on some of my goals, right?
Okay.
So I decided, okay, I know a little bit about astrology. Let me look at the astrocartography map and see where is a good planet. Oh, Jupiter. Jupiter is like it's the biggest planet in the solar system, right? So it's about abundance and the glow up. Okay, let me move to my Jupiter line, which for me was in California.
Oh, okay. Where were you starting at?
I was starting from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
I started from Houston, Texas. And so my mom had moved us to California when I was a little kid, and I'd always wanted to go back. So, once I finished college and got a little something under my belt to be able to travel and for work, I went to California, and I started to see the different changes in how the energy around certain goals was just a bit better. It was
Mm-hmm.
more expansive, like Jupiter said it would be, was more expansive.
You
And
shifted, right?
it shifted. And when I was sitting on the beach one day in California, I thought, I've been traveling all across America. I went to Miami, I went to DC, I went to different places, and I could feel how the energy was. But something clicked to me. I was like, you know what? I need to move to the other side of the Pacific Ocean. Like, I'm looking at the ocean. I was like, I want to go to the other side of there. I love Asia. I'm going to go there. And I started looking at my chart to see, like, why am I being called to Asia? And I saw that that's where my Venus line runs on my IC. Your IC is near your fourth house. It represents home. So if my Venus line is in the area of home in my chart, it means that I would love living there. So I said,
So Venus doesn't mean you went there for love. It means that's your home. Okay.
it means both.
Okay. Okay.
It can mean
We'll get to
both.
that later.
Venus,
Okay.
yeah, Venus represents love, but Venus on the IC line,
I see mine.
the fourth
Okay.
house, that represents home. Fourth house represents home, your roots, and so I thought I will love living there. But then I said, wait a minute, I might be biased because, like, I love Asia. Like, I'm a total weeb. I love everything about Asia. I've loved Asian culture since I was a little girl. So maybe I'm just looking at my chart like through my own perspective. Let me go
With the
consult
bias,
with
right?
other. Right, with a bias, right? So I thought, let me go
Mm-hmm.
consult with other astrologers and get astrocartography readings from them. And so I went to 4 different astrocartographers,
To confirm what you already knew, but okay. Okay.
and they confirmed exactly what I already knew.
Everybody, all 4 of them.
All 4 of them said the same thing. Now,
Wow.
I was so grateful that I did that because I learned from them different ways to do astrocartography that I was able to incorporate into my own practice and serve my clients better. But it did just confirm something for me. I'm glad you mentioned that your channel loves woo-woo. It confirmed for me that most people who are even interested in astrology, it's probably something that you do need to study a bit more for yourself. I think that everyone should be their own astrologer, because even though there are professionals like me who are available to help you and give you readings whenever you like, when you need some information very quickly, it'd be nice for you to know where to look in your own chart so you can help yourself and use astrology kind of as like a guide or a compass. So I really was grateful that I got those readings, and I wanted to go a bit more in depth once I got into traveling over here in Japan. Okay. So I'm very grateful that I moved here, because the Venus line on my IC has caused me to love my home. And I have many, many more examples of how the energy has shifted, but I'll take a pause there for any questions you have.
Okay. So first, I want to confirm that, yes, because I have friends who are also astrologers, right? One wrote for Rolling Out. She was a columnist for Rolling Out. Some other people did that in that lane, in publishing lane. But so I knew my rising, my sun house, and my moon sign. Like that's basically the basis that I knew before you gave me your reading. So when I got my reading from you, I was like, okay, you gave me the whole natal chart, and I was able to get into it further, like discovering where all the planets were in my chart. So that when people, when I'm watching other people talk about, oh, well, your Venus is here and the Saturn is here, and watch out for this, I was able to go back to because it was very thorough, your reading to see, okay, and then you give the summary of what each planet plays in my chart, right? So that was very, very thorough and helpful for me to start learning in depth about how to read different astrology notes from other people. So it's very helpful. If you are here, if you are a woo-woo girl, if you have questions about astrocartography already, put them in the chat so we can ask and make sure we cover everything. So, okay, you're in Japan, right? This is where your chart said to live, to go, and you will flourish. How has your life changed? How long have you been there? How have your life changed since you've been over there?
So in about 2 months, it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
And so I've had a bit of time to notice the little nuances of how the energy is unfolding, how it was initially, and then how it's continued to unfold as I've been here longer. So the main thing is that a lot of things that were uh, impacted by where I was born, my Saturn energy line that felt heavy, and Saturn is managed. Saturn rules the aspect of time, so things
Okay.
that took a long time and things that were heavy or strong or constricting, those things started to immediately just dissolve and get impacted by Venus's more lovely, artsy energy. So, for example, health issues. I had a back injury, and so my spine was in pain for years. And I went to doctors to get MRIs and different things, and they were just like, "Oh, well, you probably need to get surgery." And I was like, "I don't want nobody cutting on my back. I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
go find some Chinese medicine in Asia or something."
Right. We always have to go somewhere else, but yes.
And so when I moved here, I think just by being in this area where Saturn was no longer constricting my even my physical form, those issues started resolving themselves. Now, granted, there was a lot of other things here that affected that. The food is not poisoned like in America. There's not too many additives and chemicals and stuff.
It's
Um,
still not funny, but everybody okay, yes, true.
Yes. But also because I love where I live, I was able to easily access the things that I needed for my health. And so my back problems resolved themselves. I didn't have to continuously live in pain as I was in America. The other thing, as far as like loving my
Did you
home,
seek
right?
wait, pause. Did you seek medical help over there?
I didn't need to for this.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't need to. The way that the culture is set up here, a lot of things are. It's very easy to access healthy whole foods. Vegetables are extremely cheap here. Fruits are astronomically expensive, which is insane, but it's an island. So Japan is an island,
Yeah.
and they don't really grow a lot of fruit here, but vegetables are extremely cheap. So, things that I was paying like, a really large amount of money for vegetables in America, it's very affordable here. So
Okay.
I was able to consume my health care, if you will. I was able to eat my health care, and my
Wow.
health issues started resolving themselves. Um, uh, but also, as far as loving where I live, I was expecting, because it's Japan, everything's really limited in space. The people are smaller, so everything's really compact. I thought that like the place where I would live would be like really small, but because I love where I live, I actually have a townhouse that's the exact same size as the one I was living in Texas, which
Wow.
everything's bigger in Texas. So that in itself is just kind of like, that doesn't normally happen for other people, but because my astrology is my astrology, it affected me in the way that it did.
Yes.
And so I love my home. I love my townhouse. I was at the behest of whatever home my job gave me because I moved here for work. Um, but yeah, so those are just a few of the ways to just see how immediately moving the energy affected me in the way that it did because of my chart. Granted, I've watched YouTubers of people who moved to Japan and they had totally different experiences, right? Some
Well,
people
that's
moved
not where
here.
they're supposed to be, right? Yeah.
Exactly, right? Everybody's energy is different. And so the other thing too was when I moved here, I was out shopping and I met this random lady who just started speaking to me in the home in the home improvement store. And I'm like, she's speaking English. I live in the countryside of Japan. I'm not in a city.
Okay.
Okay. So nobody speaks English out here. So I heard this lady speaking English to me, and I'm like, okay, who is this, person speaking English? Like, wow. And we instantly clicked. She lived in America for, 10 years, and she lived in Europe for 10 years. So she spoke English fluently. And
She
she
was
instantly
Japanese
just
though? She
became,
was Japanese?
yeah, she's Japanese.
Okay.
Yep. Old Japanese lady. But she instantly was like, oh, I've been wanting to practice my English. There's no English speakers out here in the countryside. I'm so glad you're here. You need to come to my house. Like,
Yeah.
I want to take care of you. And I'm like, but she's been my best friend ever since I moved here. She's
You need
older
to
than my
come to
mom.
my house. Yes.
Yes, she's older than my mom, so she calls herself my Japanese mom. But
No.
she instantly pulled me into her community, and again, I'm able to love where I live because I have a community here. And those things, again, they're only because I'm living on this line. When I moved to other places on different lines, the energy was not the same. And I think, living in America, and I moved to like California, which I really loved, I had a community, but it wasn't the same type of like Venusian, like just love energy that I felt when I moved here with people who don't even, some of her friends don't even speak English, but
Right.
they love me. They
Right.
take care of me.
And that for
Because
sure is not every Black person's experience in Asia, let alone Japan. Yeah.
absolutely. There are a lot of things about xenophobia, which is very present and real in many parts of the world for Black people, but especially in Japan, because Japan people, I they are very much a homogeneous country, meaning everybody here is the same culture and they look the same. So when they see somebody who looks different, they're automatically, just for biological reasons, like, oh, different is, is, we don't know it. So they're
Right.
a bit apprehensive. And so they are very much not about just like embracing people they don't know. They don't even do that amongst themselves. My friends are like, oh, these are the Japanese people that we know. We don't know them Japanese people. So like, they're very cliquey.
We don't
So
go over there. We don't go over there. We don't mess with them. Okay. Like any other
so
city. Right.
So for my experience to be what it is, I know for a fact that it's because of my energy of my astrology itself.
Yes. So Angela is saying community is very important wherever you go. Facts. Um, I've heard a couple of people fall in love with Japan. That is Kyoka of Awkward Black Nomad. Um, so for those of us who want the basics, right? Those who are tuning in for the basics, what exactly is astrocartography?
Astrocartography is the study of astrology and maps. Astro is astrology, and cartography is the study of maps. And so it's putting the two together. It's looking at the global world map and then putting your astrology natal chart on top of that map, and then seeing where in the world does your energy flow based on the planetary lines.
Okay.
So all the planets are made are, going around Earth. Well, sorry, going around the sun. When we look at astrology, the center is the Earth. Right? Because you are on Earth, right?
Right.
So when we're looking at the astrology map, all the planets are hitting the lines of the planets, the energetic lines of the planets are hitting the Earth in different places. And based on where you were when you took your first breath and your natal chart started, the energies will fall on different countries in different ways. So I think, as I mentioned before, if you have a inkling, something is telling you that you want to go to a certain country or that you are just drawn to this certain city, I think most times your intuition knows where you want to be. There's a reason why your energy feels called to that place. And so I always ask people initially, where do you want to go? And then we look there first to see like what energy's there. And it's generally something that they need either at that time or something that they could benefit from long term. So it's good to know a bit about the planets. You don't have to know a whole lot about astrology, but just knowing a bit about the planets and the planetary energy can help you to understand astrocartography a bit more. And so as we're looking at your chart, I'll kind of be explaining what the planetary energies are as well.
Okay. So before we get into my chart, I want to make sure if you have any questions about astrology, put them in before we get into my reading. Chanel says the Aqua Brat no bed, but for my band on islands for living, it will be on my list to check out. A lot of it seems beautiful and introvert friendly. Oh, about Japan.
She's right. It is very introvert friendly. That's why I love it here. I am an introvert. I mean, I'm an ambivert. I try to be extroverted when necessary, but I love being to myself. People mind their own business. I love it.
So for the regular questions, because you are tall. You're a tall, you're a tall person. You're a tall Black person.
Yes.
Do you feel, I guess, fetishized there, or how do you perceive the attention that you get?
So some people do fetishize. I'm going to be honest about that. I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat anything. Some people do fetishize, but I will say that those people who do it with like a negative intention are they're in the minority. I'm not gonna say they're rare because they're not. There's quite a few of them, especially where I live in the countryside. Now, my friends live in Tokyo. I visit Tokyo for the holidays, and there's so many foreigners there. They don't blink an eye at you,
Right. Okay.
because they see foreigners every day in Tokyo or Osaka, the major cities. But outside of Tokyo and Osaka, you will probably be fetishized by somebody because you are probably the first foreigner they've ever seen in their life.
Okay.
There are not 98% of Japan is Japanese people. There's only 2% foreigners, and that includes foreigners from every country in the world. Okay. And because of the different, elements of racism, there are not a lot of Black people who come here. And then if they are, they're generally with the military, and they're usually men. So they do not see Black women very often at all. And then because of how our hair is very different, a lot of them want to touch it. And so
what's your line? What's your line? What is your line when they try to touch it? What do you say? Ciao?
My line is go in the side. I'm sorry. And the movement of like,
okay,
back up, please don't touch me. I always just say I'm sorry. Because that is polite in Japanese, even though they're the ones who should be saying they're sorry.
They're the ones that are offensive, but okay, be polite. All right.
Yeah, I'm always just polite, and I just, the universal symbol of like, please, I just go no side, and I just bow and just, they because this is the thing. Japanese people's society is very polite. They are not even supposed to touch each other.
Okay.
Okay. So they know that what they're doing is wrong when they're trying to touch.
Right.
So when you just do that movement, they already are, just remember gomen. Gomen is I'm sorry in Japanese, and they will get the clue. But for the most part, most people are generally just curious.
Okay.
And so the people who are like that, I know that they're not being fetishy. You can feel people's energy. And so for some of those people, like I will indulge them. Some of them will just ask, and I like to look at people's fingernails. If your nails ain't clean, I'm gonna tell you, no, I'm sorry. You can't touch my hair.
You have to say, and she lost me. she lost.
I know. I know. That's what I said.
That's why she lives in the country. She said in Tokyo they won't bat an ass. So just go to Tokyo.
Yeah, you can go to Tokyo. You'll be all right. Okay, they got Black hair salons there. They know it's tons of Japanese people who do Black people hair there. Like they're not gonna care about you. Just don't leave outside of Tokyo, and you'll be all right. But yeah, you do have to be. It is very difficult. You will have to be a certain type of personality type to enjoy living here. Now, I love the attention. I'm a Leo rising, so I love being a celebrity. I love people.
You better whip them braids.
Everywhere I go, I love that people are looking at me, staring at me. The only time it gets annoying is when I'm like in a rush trying to go to work and people are like stopping and just like staring. I'm like, please get out of my way. I got somewhere to be.
Wow. Okay.
But for the most part, I do think if you are comfortable with interacting with a lot of people who are curious and you're okay being, we know the saying. Some people be like, they looking at me like they ain't never seen Black people before. Japan is that place.
Okay. Just get used to it or don't come. Okay. Okay, so we're going to get into the reading now. I'm going to come off the screen. You're going to share a screen. Are you sharing screens?
Yes, I will share my screen.
Okay,
here.
and I'm going to come off the screen so she can walk through my personal business reading. Okay.
All right. So let's get started here with the map for Yvonne. And we will be looking at the astrocartography map overall for the whole world, and then we will zoom in on the spaces that she wants to go. So let's see here. Okay, so there we go. All right. So this map is a global layout, and as you can see at the top, there are different planets, glyphs, planetary symbols, and this shows where in the world the energy is connecting two different places based on Yvonne's natal chart. Now, at the top, you'll see it says MC or IC. Your midheaven is the top of your chart. If you're looking at your astrology chart, it's usually the 10th house at the top. The IC is directly opposite that. It's the 4th house at the bottom. if you're using whole sign. For those who are a bit more advanced in astrology, you can, most people use a Placidus. I use whole sign because it's just more even that way. But this is important because your midheaven is where you will, the energy of where you will present to the public and your career and how you will, as you age, how you will become. So moving to your midheaven line is very beneficial, or moving to an area that has a benefic planet on your midheaven. A benefic planet is Jupiter, Venus, planets that have, good energy. And as we see here on the side, we have AC, which is your ascendant or rising sign. And then we have the DC, which is your descendant, and that is your seventh house. So it's opposite your rising sign. So
Okay,
Yvonne
question.
mentioned that she wanted to
Question.
go. Yes.
Question. Is my descendant Scorpio?
Your descendant is, let me double check your chart again. Let's see here. I'll have to go back to the actual chart. So what you guys see here is astro.com. This website is completely free. I highly recommend you all go there. You're going to see me pull up her chart here quickly. So you can go to horoscopes, free horoscopes, go down where horoscopes and drawings are, go to extended chart selection, and this will allow you to pull up your free astrocartography chart. Now, her information is already in here. So the birth data is already in here. But you can put together a chart. I generally put whole sign, as I mentioned before, because Placidus puts signs in, like, it splits them up, and I don't think that any zodiac signs are split. Either you're in Pisces season or you're not, right? Whole sign puts the charts that way. Okay, so your descendant is actually Sagittarius in whole sign. Okay, Yvonne, if you were using Placidus system, it would be in Scorpio. Yeah. But whole sign makes all of the houses even, all these 1 through 12, it makes them even. Placidus kind of splits them up. And as I said before, I think that every zodiac sign, we move through the zodiac signs in each season every month. There's no season where we skip a month or some of the months cut in half or something like it does on the Placidus chart. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. So back to the map. So Yvonne mentioned that she wanted to go to a few different places. And so, Yvonne, could you tell us which is one of the first cities that you wanted to go to?
I think I said Roatan, Honduras was the first one. That's my number one pick.
All right. So I believe that Honduras, Honduras is, this is not as clear as I was hoping it would be on this map. Let me zoom out.
We can start with Medellin then, because Medellin was the second one.
Yeah, let's go to Medellin first. I'll have to zoom in. I'll have to do Honduras on a second website. Okay. Medellin is here, so let's go to Medellin first, right? And as we can see, when you hover over the place you want to go, this little box will pop up and it will give you the coordinates, and then it will tell you where the ascendant and the midheaven are in your chart. Okay, so let's click on it and let's look at the new chart that it's going to give you. Now, astroseek.com does this, and what it does is it gives you a new natal chart for your relocated data. It keeps your natal chart in here, but it gives you a new one so you can see what the difference is. Now, what you'll notice here is that Venus is on the ascendant. And so that indicates that you will love living here, for one, because Venus rules love. But it also rules everything related to art and beauty and relationships. So if you move somewhere with Venus on your ascendant line, uh, you will have a natural charm, and people will be generally attracted to you. They will see you as beautiful there. Um, you will feel more confident in your appearance, and you'll be more comfortable expressing your unique style, expressing who you are, since the ascendant is your external persona. A couple of other elements that come with living somewhere with Venus on your ascendant are social grace, meaning it's easier for you to make connections there. So if you want to network and make new friends, um, your energy will be perceived as very Venusian, lovely. So people will just be drawn to you energetically. They'll want to welcome you. They'll want to be friends with you. Um, Another energy that could manifest there is personal harmony, meaning you will experience personal peace and harmony being in this space. And so it's a good place to indulge in self-care and activities that just bring you joy. And then another one is creativity boost. So because Venus rules the arts, your creative talents will be more amplified here. So if you do art, music, fashion, writing, you can find new ways to be creative in this space. So uh, I think, as I mentioned before, if you are drawn to certain places, your intuition knows you're supposed to be there.
So I love everything about that. Love everything I heard about that. I already, we've discussed this before. That area is pulling me towards it for a while. I'm a beach girl, so I was on the fence about if I wanted to live in the city. Um, but I think I can get to one as often as I want to.
Yes, and I do want to show you something here as far as the
Okay.
beach thing, because I moved to an island. I moved to Japan because I wanted to be surrounded by the beach. So I understand. Okay. Here's the thing with astrology, these planetary lines, they're generally good for about 200 to 250 miles east, west, north, south of each other. So even if you're in Medellin, if you want to go to the beach, if as long as it's not like maybe like 500 miles away, the energy is going to be exactly the same.
Great. All right. Um, so career, creativity, Venetian vibe. I'm feeling all of that. What does it say about my love life in that area?
Okay, okay. So, so, so let's for that we're gonna look at the actual natal chart. Yeah.
Okay.
So here, that's the seventh house, right? If you move to Medellin, your seventh house rules your relationships. Okay.
Okay.
It rules one-on-one relationships, and here you have Neptune. So Neptune is a very interesting planet, I'll say. It has some amazing benefits because it is considered the higher octave of Venus. So it's Venus amplified, right?
Okay.
So so you could find a really, really amazing love life there. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the other thing about Neptune is that the shadow side of it is illusions.
I know.
Neptune rules,
I knew
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Delulu. Don't be down there
Delulu.
being Delulu.
Delulu. It would be very easy to become Delulu. You could meet someone who would love bomb you, and then it turns out at the end they're not what they presented themselves to be. So you would definitely need to keep your eyes open, keep your wits about you when dealing with relationships. But I think because of the combinations in your chart here, two things show me something that make me think that you could harness that energy and balance it out. What we see here, this glyph is a Lilith.
Okay.
Lilith rules the woman's power. In a woman's chart, it rules woman's power. So this literally means that you could have power over your relationships. You would just need to actually wield your own power. You can't just let anything come to you. You would have to take control of your relationships to make them the way that you want them to be. The other thing.
Wait, before you move on. So for people who are not familiar with Lilith, can you just give a brief synopsis of what that is, or who she is?
Okay. Okay, so in astrology, we go by the mythology stories of Lilith. The mythology of Lilith is that she was Adam's first wife. So before Eve, there was Lilith. And Lilith wanted to be equal to Adam. She, she said, God created us both, so we should be equals. And Adam was like, no. So he went to God and was like, this woman, I can't control her. I don't like her. And so she got kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Does that sound like somebody y'all know? Does that sound like, do you identify with Lilith? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, that energy is definitely, it's definitely been bequeathed to certain women on the earth, I'll say. And so that is why the mythology in astrology is that women who take control who take control of things, wherever this shows up in your chart, if you take control in that area of your life, you will get the benefits of Lilith. And so for that to be in your seventh house, I think it says a lot about this area being important for relationships for you. But the other thing that jumps out to me here is this eighth house. Eighth house rules intimacy. So if seventh house is the partnership, eighth house is the shared things in the partnership.
Okay.
So intimacy and actually like long-term secure relationships, like being in a marriage, what you share in a marriage. You have the North Node here. So what this tells me is that, okay, so North Node rules destiny. It's the North Node of the moon. So it's not actually a planet. It's kind of like a position point in the sky of where the moon is. It's the north side of it. But it rules where your emotions are drawn to, like where you're destined to go, or where you should be focusing on your energy on.
Okay.
And for the North Node being in the eighth house, it means when you move to Medellin, it will be your destiny to find an actual true partnership, a true intimate partnership that is balanced and fair, and pulling in seventh house too, that you have control over. You're not being overpowered. But it can be, if you combine these things, it can be the relationship of your dreams. Neptune rules dreams. It rules illusions. It rules the fantasy. It rules the mystic. It rules everything woo-woo. Neptune is the woo-woo planet. Okay. So you could find a partner that is into the woo-woo, could be a spiritual person, or they could be an entertainer. If they're not on the mystic side, the more...
No more entertainers. No more entertainers. No more entertainers. Okay.
So they could be a mystic person. They could be very spiritual, or they could be very compassionate. Neptune rules the energy of compassion, and just a very kind, caring person. But eighth house North Node lets me know that it's definitely going to be your destiny, or your life path is going to be... the energy is going to be drawing you to find a fair, balanced, intimate relationship there. So I say it's good. Just keep your feet on the ground with Neptune there and take your power. Don't let anybody overpower you.
Okay. Angela says, I didn't know there was a woman before Eve. I'm going to have to read up on our girl Lilith. Yes. That's why I wanted her to take some time to go into that. Y'all going to learn some stuff today. Okay. Tonight. Yes. Okay, so so that was Medellin. What was my third one? Was it Panama?
Yeah, it was Panama.
What DMs to find out why we're swearing off entertainment? Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. Okay. So Panama was the second one. What say the universe about Panama?
All right. So if you can see here, I've switched to a different website, because as you noticed with AstroSeek, the astrocartography map here it doesn't zoom very well. You need to be able to know exactly where the city is to click on it.
Okay.
But what you'll notice here is that when you move around, you see the coordinates change. So you know you're moving to a different place, but the signs only shift a little bit based on where you're going. And with your chart, it's going to move your ascendant to one sign over when you
Okay.
move to up to Honduras and Panama, but it's not going to shift things very much. So
Okay.
that's why I'm going to move over to astro.com where we did the natal chart at first.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna say
here the
Rotan for
zoom
last.
is a
'Cause
lot
that's
better.
okay. I'm gonna say Rotan for last because that's my first choice.
Okay, okay. So let's zoom in here a bit more. I think it's a bit laggy. Mm, it's a bit laggy here. Let me close out some of these.
Okay.
Mm,
So
oh,
while she's doing that, I want to take a pause for the cause. If you are enjoying this video, please like it. Please subscribe. I see we have about 15 people on live with us today, but only a few of you have said hello. Please say hello so I can acknowledge you and thank you for joining us this evening. This is not my regular time. As soon as we get off, I will be in bed. But Asti is in Japan. This is her morning, so we are making it work for her. And again, if you have any questions for her about your astrology, your natal chart, any questions that you want to ask, please put them in the chat.
all right. So here we can see that Panama is still near the Venus ascendant line.
Okay.
So as I said, if you're not traveling too far away from a certain place where you're looking at the astrology, the energy is generally the same.
Okay.
And what I like about astro.com is if you are not an astrologer, you literally can come here and do your own astrocartography reading in general. It will just give you the basics. And it's just general. You can't really see all the other planets here, but it will give you the basics. So it shows you that Venus is on the ascendant line and it tells you how many kilometers away it
Okay.
is.
So that area in general, Rotan will probably be the same then too, huh?
It's going to be about the same. It said Honduras. Oh, wait. No, Rotan is closer to your sun line, but we're going to get to that last, like you said,
Okay.
because it's going to be a little different. Yeah.
Okay.
But it explains more in depth about what the Venus on the ascendant is, and it explains what the energy can be like for you. So if you want kind of like a generalized horoscope just for that one line, clicking here will kind of give you an overview of like, what things will be like. But as I said, if you want more in depth, you would need to change the actual place um, on the map. So we're going to click generally here.
Okay.
And now that I know exactly where Panama City is on the map, I was able to click more generally, even though we can't zoom in and see. And as you can see, the planets are still in the same positions. They're still in the same houses because you're not traveling very far. So your chart is not
Okay.
shifting in any direction too much, right? So you're actually going to have the same energy no matter whether you go to Medellin or you go to Panama.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Now, the difference is going to be when you go to Rotan. So Rotan here is Honduras. And when we click on it, we can see that it changes to a different planetary energy here. And it's showing that Mercury in zenith, but it's very far away. The energy is 9,000 kilometers away. So that's not a very influential energy. And the reason it's showing that is because the sun line, you can see that here, the sun line on the ascendant, that's the closest line, but it's still too far away to get any energy, right? So let's look back at our chart here and let me try to make sure I'm clicking on the right place.
So question, okay, the Venus line, we know what that is. What does the sun line, what is that? What does that tell us? What does that designate?
So the sun line, sun represents you. We all know our sun sign. That's our horoscope sign that we usually learn first. And having the sun line on your ascendant, it is a big confidence boost.
Okay.
So you will be feeling yourself when you move there. you, you will feel like you're that one. And so if you want to work on your self-esteem, this is a wonderful place to move. Um, and it's basically an ultimate glow up. You will feel confident enough in yourself to take control of your life, and you can glow up to your ultimate. I mean, the sun is the glowing planet.
If
So
it was on my sun line, though, right?
yeah, yeah. If it was closer to your sun line,
Right.
right?
Okay. But it's not.
Uh,
Okay. So that's just
mhm.
gonna be a vacation spot. Just vacation.
Yes, that can be a vacation spot for you. So I want to
Yeah.
look a little bit more in depth to see like if it actually shifts your chart. I don't think that it will, but I gotta be sure I'm clicking in the right place underneath Belize. So on the map. So yeah, Rotan here. Okay. So we're clicking on Rotan. We're gonna look and see if it actually has shifted your planets anywhere. And no, it doesn't. We see it's still the same. Your chart energy is still the same. So uh it moves Venus more into your first house a little bit. As you can see, it puts your sun on your ascendant now, right?
Okay.
So the planets are generally still in the same place, but having the Venus on the ascendant is a little bit better. So as you said, yeah, it's a good place for vacation. Um, go make, get empowered and whatever. But if you want somewhere where you'll love to live and the people will love you more, having Venus on your ascendant is much better.
Okay, let's try a far-fetched. I love Portugal, Lisbon, but it's too far away from United States.
Mhm.
Um, but I do love it. Let's see what it says about Lisbon.
Okay, let's check out Lisbon. Let's go check out Lisbon. So, Portugal, Lisbon. And we see here, it has Venus, Jupiter, but it's really far away. So as you can see, there are no direct lines crossing near here, right? So what we can do is we can go back to our global map and we can come over to Lisbon here. I'm seeing a lot of Leo. I'm excited about that for me because I am a
For
Leo
you,
rising.
yes. You said you
Yeah,
never
so
been?
you,
Have you been?
no, my mom was living there last year, and she's planning to
Okay.
permanently immigrate there. So I will be visiting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
so
And your mom,
yes,
what is your
this
mother?
moving to my mom is a Virgo sun, Virgo rising, but she's also a Leo moon.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you will become a Leo rising if you move to Lisbon.
Baby, that's a bad combination, but go ahead. That's a bad combination. Ma'am? Leo don't want to see me. Okay, but go ahead.
You will be the queen. You will be the queen when you move to Lisbon. Okay. I think that it will be very balanced for you, though. I think it would be good because you don't have any planets here like amplifying that energy. I have a stellium in Leo, so I am super extra. Everything people say about Leos, I'm that on 10, okay? But you don't have any planets here, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Um, but what I do see here that jumps out me immediately is that your stellium of planets, a stellium is 3 or more planets or points. You have a stellium in your 10th house, um, and 10th house rules career. So moving here would be amazing for your career.
Okay. All right. We might have to consider.
And because you have Mercury in your stellium, your communication, writing, YouTube, anything dealing with communication would absolutely be amplified and quite successful. So I say, even if you don't move there, this is one thing I want to note to give to your audience. If you are interested in a particular place and you can't go there, the thing about astrocartography is the energy is real. So when you start meeting people from those places where you are, go to those grocery stores, go to the events, the local cultural centers, go meet people from that places. Those people carry that energy. Before I left America, I was hanging out with all the Asian people, and they're the ones that helped me learn the language before I got over here. They gave me contacts because the people who are born there, they carry that energy, or people who have that lineage, they carry that energy. So find some Portuguese people, and they will help your career where you're at.
Listen, so this is a few things. We went to Portugal 2 years ago. I was only there like 5 or 6 days. I immediately was like, oh, this is the ish, right? This is the ish. As soon, like within 2 hours. So I know that I'm supposed to be there at some point for a lengthy amount of time. But I felt that there. I felt that there. I feel that in Cuba. I know a lot of people, whatever, they got those things to say, but Cuba is a beautiful country, especially when you get outside of Savannah. I feel that in Cuba. But okay, that's good to know. Career glow up in Lisbon.
Yeah.
Says
Yeah.
I love Lisbon. I do too.
Let's see what your Cuba is doing. You mentioned it, so let's check it out. As I said before, I feel that intuition is very strong. Intuition is your higher guidance inner GPS system. It's the divine, your divine self guiding you to where you need to be. And so if you listen to it, if you feel drawn to a place, there's a reason, right?
Yeah,
Boom, same thing. Cuba, Venus is on your ascendant. That's why you love Cuba, and Cuba loves you.
Baby, it does. It do. I don't speak Spanish, but I be down there like, oh, yes, I love it. Love it. Yes. I didn't even have to. You didn't even have to confirm it. I already knew. Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So what are all those? You said the triple thing. If you had 3 planets in one house, is this 3 planets right there?
If you have 3 planets or points in one house, it's a stellium.
Okay. So I have stellium in Cuba.
You have a stellium in Cuba, and well, this whole region, everything in the region for as long as you're generally in this Central American, Northern, South American region, your planets have that stellium there. No matter where you go, the stellium is the same, because when you move, like for example, when you move to Lisbon, the planets are still in the same. They're still together. It's just that they move to a different house, right?
House. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but when you're in Central America, South America, here the stellium is in the 12th house. 12th house rules your subconscious, your unconscious, your secrets, sleep.
Peace of mind. Peace of mind. Anything I asked you? Yes. I wanted to know, where should I go for a better quality of life and peace of mind?
Peace of mind. It's going to be those places. It's going to be Medellin. It's going to be Panama. It's going to be Havana, Cuba. Well, anywhere in Cuba. Cuba's kind of small, so that energy is all over. Yeah. It's going to be Honduras. It's going to be Central South America, Northern South America for you, because the energy is in the 12th house. 12th house rules transcendence. It rules meditation. It rules all those things. So going there, especially with your sun being in the stellium, you could definitely kind of like level up and become kind of like an expert or a guru in this. Like it could benefit you, and then you could also help other people, because you have Mercury there, so you could communicate what you learn to other people there as well.
Okay, so we have a question from the Awkward Black Nomad, Kiyoka. She says, do you have recommendations on which lines we should stay close to and which ones we should stay away from?
Okay, so that's a very good point. Some astrologers will tell you to stay away from the planets that are malefic or bad planets, but I actually have a different opinion than that. As I said, I was born on a malefic planet. I was born on Saturn. That's a bad planet. It's harsh energy. But for people who want to use that energy for beneficial things, you could go there for a good reason. For example, Saturn rules discipline and long-term goals and achievements. So living on my Saturn line helped me to be a very disciplined person. I use astrology to put in my Google Calendar, and I'm very disciplined and organized, and I'm able to use that energy because I was born on that energy. So I think if you want to go somewhere for like maybe for education, you want to be disciplined and get a degree for something difficult, moving to your Saturn line would be great. Same thing with Uranus. Uranus is a erratic planet. It's something you can't plan. It's very chaotic. But if you want to shake up, if you want to change your life, you want something new, then maybe you would want to move there. If you feel stagnant and you want something new, or if you're into technology, Uranus rules technology. So moving to different planets for different reasons is something I would recommend. I wouldn't say stay away from certain planets unless you know what energy in your life you don't want at a time. Then don't move there.
Okay. Patricia says, hello, Asti. I'm feeling a pull and call to slow travel in Southeast Asia approximately in December this year. What info do you need from me? So I'm going to pull up her book a session information, but you go ahead and tell her what she needs to send you.
Okay, so Southeast Asia, shout out to that. I am totally loving that region of the world. I plan to travel there too. So if you feel drawn there, it's definitely going to be enjoyable for you. But yes, if you want to book a reading with me, what you can do is you can go to my Ko-fi. Yvonne will be pulling it up, and you just put in your information. And what I'll need is your birthday and your birth time and your birth city. Now, if you happen to not know your birth time, I recommend maybe asking elders in your family, hey, do you remember what time of day it was when I was born? Were you guys eating lunch? Was it breakfast? Was it nighttime? And then we can get a general ballpark of whether it was, morning, noon, or night, and then we can get a general reading. Or you can go to the Bureau of Vital Statistics in your county and ask them for a birth fact, and they'll give you your birth time. But that's generally all I need, and we can pull up your natal chart and look at the planet and see what's best for you.
So I just put it in the chat, the link to get to book a session with Asti. But she also does what? Natal chart readings, astrocartography, business readings, and one more thing. But you can look it up. It's in the chat, and the link is also under this video if you would like to book a session. New moon readings. She also does new moon readings. Yeah. Any more questions? Let us know, so we'll get to them. So Asti, what are your new business plans aside from doing readings? What else do you offer for your customers, clients?
So I also have a astrology plus AI course. It shows you how to read your own natal chart using generative AI, so ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or any others that you like. They're all generally about the same. But when I started using it to try to create quick little horoscopes for people, I kept running into the thing where the AI will tell you, oh, astrology is not a real science, so we can't be an astrologer for you. You need to consult a professional astrologer. And I was like, well, NASA started using astrology with their coordinates. They actually, if you look at the history of astrology, NASA went to astrologers from ancient times and took their maps and coordinates and logs of them tracking the planets. So the ephemerises and the planetary tracking and all the actual numbers and coordinates were from astrologers. Okay. Then they kicked astrologers out and made it a hard science. Anyway, ChatGPT and Google Gemini will tell you that you can't use astrology, but I found a way to hack it because I am a technology girl. I got a master's in technical communication. So I use that to explain the technical details of how to use AI to read your own natal chart. As I said, I want everybody to be their own astrologer. So you can ask it specific questions. This is prompt engineering. I teach you prompt engineering that you can use for anything outside of astrology as well. Once you learn how to ask the AI certain questions, it will give you the information that you need. So you can ask it how to read your own natal chart in detail by piece. And I have a course that I offer where I explain that to you. You can take it at your own pace. And if you have any questions, I'm open to email. You can email me and we can work through the course together. So yeah, that's what I also offer. And I also offer technology consultations as well. If you want the component, I will help your business with any tech needs that it needs, and put your natal chart with it together so we can focus on how to use social media with AI to find your ideal customers based on your natal chart. And then if you're not into astrology at all, I do just offer general software engineering, software tutorials, how to use different software, and to quickly learn how to use it for your business. So I workshop, I hold your hand, and we walk through how to use any type of technology you need to get your business on the roll.
So you heard her. Whatever you want, hey, then you know she. Okay, I don't know if you can do that without being fat. Right? So I want to be fat. So yes, you can get all your readings, all your astrology readings here. You can, if you are a beginning novice astrologer and want to know how to read your own chart, you can purchase her course, her AI astrology course. She can walk you through that. If you need help with your business, how to attract the clients that you want, astrology can do that for you as well. Cover all the bases. Is there anything else that you would like to share, or any more questions for Asti before we let her go? We are about that 1 hour time. Anything you want to add, Asti, before we let the people go?
I just wanted to thank you, Yvonne, for being an amazing, supportive friend. You are always helping Black and Brown women to connect and helping us, encouraging us to do our best. So I just wanted to thank you for having me on your show and wish you abundant peace and blessings. And same as well to your audience.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. I have been waiting for you to do this for a while. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just be patient. I'm gonna be patient. I know you got a lot of things going on, but I appreciate you coming to share your gifts, right? Your talent with the audience. I'm hoping that we get some other viewers on the replay. And ladies, please, before you go, thank you for coming, Angela. Before you go, please like this video. Please share with other women or men who are interested in astrology, interested in relocation, to use this astrocartography for their relocation needs, for their sabbatical needs, for their travel needs. It's a GPS travel tool that we can all use, and it all benefits. And as you can see from my personal reading, that is pretty accurate. And I also want to say that when you get a reading with her, it goes my first reading was like an hour and a half. It's really in depth. We couldn't get into it like we wanted to on this because it's late for some of you all. But she gives you your natal chart. Again, she gives you the summary of what each planet does and how it activates your life in that chart, as well as your relocation information for which cities you want to or you're interested in scouting out. So, I think it's a great tool. And if you're interested, please look her up. All her information is below this video. Thank you, Kiyoka. This was awesome. Thank you. Khadijah, thank you for coming. It was awesome. Okay, ladies, we're going to let you go. Asti, stay with me for a second. Enjoy your evening. Okay, bye.